Hey, troubadours. Happy to be on today, and we're trying something new. We're going to have a new feature that I am calling the Inside Scoop, and it is aimed to be like around 15-minute conversation with a subject matter expert in something that I think is going to help everybody out with some kind of quick fire questions and advice. And so today I have branding photographer Madison Yen joining me. And I want to talk a little bit about photography, but specifically headshots, because for some reason we all hate headshots. We don't mind having them. We know we need them, but I guess it's just that thing of we don't like to see what we look like, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, and the alternative though to not wanting to get a headshot done is you end up using something that's either too old or a picture of you 20 years ago that somebody they couldn't tell who it was if they met you in a coffee shop based on your picture. I think that's not cool, and I think you would agree.
Yeah, it's like when people are like, meeting each other on the dating apps and then they go in and there's like a picture from 20 years ago. Like, come on,
Bait and
guys.
switch, bait and switch, right? So I want to talk a little bit about specifically headshots, but before I ask you a few questions, what I want to do is have you introduce yourself to people.
Sure. Yes. So my name's Madison Yen, and I'm a branding photographer. I have a business called Madison Yen Photography, which is super creative. And I've been a photographer for about 8 years now. So I took over the business from my dad, who was also a photographer. And I've kind of just gone more into that branding side of it, which helps small businesses, figure out what they want their brand to look like and then translate that into images.
Awesome. And you don't know it, but that is the perfect segue into our first question.
Perfect.
So our first question, so now it's the let's get down to business part. And I've got about 9 questions that I'm going to be firing at Madison real quickly. And so the first one is, what's the difference between, some people say they know they need a headshot, but they don't know what a branding photographer really is. So what's the difference between like a headshot photographer and a branding photographer?
So this question totally makes sense because I think branding is a relatively like new style of photography. How
Mhm.
I look at it is branding photography is your overall umbrella and headshots come in underneath it. I think back in the day it was a little different. Headshots were like their own thing, but in my mind, branding photography is any kind of photo that you need to market your business, and so a headshot is part of that. A headshot shows who you are. You can use it on your about page, profile pictures, anything like that. So I view it as a part of branding photography, not necessarily separate. And if you were to book a branding session with me, we would take headshot photos for you to use. Not every photographer looks at this the same way. That's because it's not like a standardized thing where they're like, well, branding photography means this and this and this. It's like, this is how I perceive it. And so that's how I shoot for it.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So saying that, and it's not like you've seen the script, but you're segging right into the next one. So for example, if
Perfect.
you're looking for someone to do a shoot for you, whether it's headshot or more, how do you find a photographer that actually matches your style? Because there's so many different people and styles.
Well, yeah, there is so many different ways to take a photo, whether it's light and airy, there's like a lot of white background, or it could be like a little bit dark and moody. It could be very artistic. So there's so many different ways to take a photo. What I would recommend is just go on to Instagram, which is like such a visual social platform, and then go to your search tab, do hashtag headshot photographer or branding photographer, anything like that. If you wanted to get super specific, you could put your location in there. So for example, we're in Denver, so I could type in Denver headshot photographer
Mm.
and something like that. Once you're scrolling through, you can kind of look through and see what photos you like, which ones you're gravitating more towards, whether you like colors that are like more pale and or pastelly, or just not as vibrant, or if you like darker colors, or if you just like true to life and you're like, this is the way I am. I don't want any weird editing stuff. So what I would recommend is go to a platform like Pinterest or Instagram, search those things, and then see which ones you're kind of gravitating more towards, and then go for that style. And then if you know of a photographer, but they don't shoot the style that you like, then don't pick that photographer. Like, I know that sounds really hard, but it's like if your neighbor's like a friend and they're a photographer, but they shoot in a weird way, that's how they're going to shoot. So
Oh,
really like look at their end product and then pick the photographer based on that, not just the convenience factor of this person shoots this, I know this person, but they shoot this way and that's okay. Like just go straight
oh,
for the result and then pick the photographer based on that, if that makes
okay.
sense.
That makes yes, that makes a lot of sense, because I think sometimes we think somehow it's going to be different when they shoot us, but you're right.
It,
Photographers,
it's,
just like I
yeah.
think graphic designers, they have their own styles, right?
It's the way that they shoot. And if you're okay with that, if you don't have a preference, then sure, go with convenience, go with the person that you know. If you want something specific, then pick somebody who can specifically do that for you.
Yeah. Oh, got it. Good. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so this next question, maybe it's kind of a loaded question, but how often should you get a new headshot?
So I get this question a lot, and I would say it depends on how much you change. Like if you've just lost like 100 pounds and you want new pictures, it's a good time to get pictures. But if you kind of look the same from 3, 4, 5 years ago, use the same picture. I think I had my LinkedIn picture up for like 4 or 5 years. I haven't really changed that much. And so I think, you want to steer away from like anything that's 20 years old or anything like that. But if you feel like you pretty much look the same, then you can keep those pictures. Otherwise, I'd say a good rule of thumb is 3 to 5 years, something like that. If you change your hair a ton, maybe that's a good time to take a new picture. If you change anything about your appearance, then that would be a good time.
Good. Okay, that makes sense. Makes me feel better. Mine are not that old.
It doesn't have to be
Maybe what
like a
you need.
month. Yeah.
Oh
Like,
yeah, maybe what you need to do is like ask a friend, dial a friend
yes.
and say, do you think I need a new one? Because we might
Yeah.
think we look exactly the same, but other people might be saying, not so much, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and we are our own worst, like, person to ask
Critics.
too,
Yes,
but
that's absolutely true.
yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, phone a friend. That's
Um,
a
so for headshots, does it make a difference? Do you think people should be doing inside or outside?
I'd say whatever matches your personality. I think I've done some really cool shots inside and some really cool shots outside. If you're looking for more of a corporate look, then I always like a good inside one, kind of like an office setting. Those are kind of cool. And then that could be like a blurred out background. If you're just more open and you want something a little bit more casual, then I would say outside, just depending on your style and your personality. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just what's fit. It is what fits you and your personality and your business the best.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So inside or outside, fine. How do you know what to wear? I mean, like colors, some people say don't wear patterns, don't do this, don't do that. What do you do?
I'd say wear something that makes you feel like you look good in. Like
Mm,
if you don't wear a suit every day, don't wear a suit. That wear something that you would normally wear. So then when people see you, they're not surprised by like, oh, she's way more casual than this one where she's wearing like a full-on suit. But then also, I'd say something like if your husband or if your significant other is like, you're looking good today, that would probably be like a good little outfit to wear. Obviously nothing too like crazy. Um, and then for colors, I would say match it with your brand if you can. That would be ideal because then it fits a lot of like the graphics in your website, your just the colors that fit. Um, for me personally, I wear a lot of black, which this is like one of the weird days where I'm not wearing black. But I think that black is like the most appealing and like it just looks good on so many body types. So I always vote black, but and I always try to pick colors and patterns that aren't going to date your photos. So something
oh, good
simple is
point.
probably better. And something also that doesn't show that it's like super summery or super wintry. So then
Oh,
that way
good
it looks
point.
it looks good like year round to have like you in a normal shirt, not like a sweater or a turtleneck or in like a strapless something.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. Something that can go year round, something that looks pretty good all the time, doesn't really date you in any way, and then something that you feel is flattering on you, which I would phone in a friend for that one for sure.
Definitely. Okay, cool. All right, here's going to be the fun part. And I don't know if you're going to do some posy kind of stuff here, but it's like, what would you say are just a few posing tips, and not necessarily, I know a lot of women probably especially are going to say, I want something that makes me look thinner, because that's such a thing,
Of
which is
course.
really ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
well,
on the other hand, I know there's just certain poses or angling or whatever that are more flattering. So could you help us out in that category?
yeah. So, okay, definitely. I would say, and I can scoot back and show you a little bit. Like, I would say, instead of being straight on to the camera, it always helps to have like a little turn left or right. With the shoulders, and I call this working the shoulders. So anytime, like, so instead of just being straight on, you kind of want to turn it one way or the other, depending on your side preference of like which side of your face you like better.
Right.
So that way, so it takes it from going like this wide to this wide because you're turning.
Mm,
So that's always nice. The arms are always like a really big like pain point for, especially for women. So what I recommend is get the arm off of your body. So like when it's laying flat on your body, it's going to flatten out, which is just unfortunate, right? And so for that, I just recommend like putting a hand on the hip like this, or just kind of playing with it and lifting it up off the body a little bit. So I always like a good arm cross too. Just play with these and see what works for you, and then like mix in the shoulder business. And
okay.
then another big one for posing is definitely the chin. So I think it's really like it's such a bummer. Like for chins, when we're just in our resting pose, we kind of like retract our head in a little bit and we get like this weird double chin. So I always tell my people, like, stick your chin out and down. And I know that this is kind of a hard thing to do. So if this is hard for you, like down first and then out, and then just kind of move it one side to the other, that helps kind of, spread out some of this business under here. And then
Huh.
it takes out some of that double chin, and then it creates some separation from like your head to the rest of your body. So it just kind of helps
Oh,
with a little,
interesting.
yeah. So
Awesome.
those are
Thank
three quick
you.
tips.
I would think too, when you're doing your research, that that also plays into, if a good photographer that knows those things, you're going to notice it in the pictures that they
Look and
take of
see.
other people, right?
Yeah, look and see and make sure that the people that they're shooting are not just like sticks, like they've got some curves to them, especially if that's something that you're worried about. Like if you're a little bit curvier or you want to make sure that you're posed in a good way, like look and see what kind of people they have on their portfolio, and
Mm,
if that kind of fits like how you would be.
got it. Got it. Cool. Okay, that I think that's really helpful. So the last one under the kind of getting business done is, should you get your hair and your makeup done, or should you just like show up like you do every day?
So I would say, okay, if you're paying a photographer over $100 to go get your photo done and you feel pretty confident that this is going to be a good photo for you, I mean, put yourself in the position to succeed. Okay, so like
Oh,
get your hair and makeup done if you want. Otherwise, just do your hair and makeup yourself. I will say professionals are professionals for a reason. As long as you know like the work that they do and they're not crazy or anything, and they're not going to do like a crazy face. But yeah, I mean, I think I definitely hair and makeup makes a difference. If you have the budget for it, add it in. It sets yourself up for success. It makes you look the best that you can. But if you're not into makeup and that doesn't make you feel good about yourself, your life, whatever, then no, don't do that. Just do how you would normally wear all your stuff. But I just think if you're putting in the time and effort and money to get new photos, then like a hair and makeup won't hurt you at all. It'll only help. So
got it. Got it. Okay. Awesome. So I hope those tips have been helpful for everybody. And so we're going to close out with a quick 5 questions. And so here's what I want to know. And these are more personally based questions so people can get to know you too. So tell me what you're reading now, business, personal development, what you're reading now or what you just read.
okay, I am reading Simon Sinek's Leaders Eat Last book. I love Simon Sinek. I really only read like personal development business books. So I'm having a great time. I love Simon Sinek. He's great. And that's my leader book right
Leaders
there.
Eat Last. I've heard of that. I have not yet read it. So you'll have
Very
to tell
good.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Okay.
check it out.
Awesome. Okay. Number 2, posed or candids? Favorite.
A little bit of both. Like I think you can set people up in a pose and then get them to do a little movement and make them laugh, and then it turns into a candid.
Oh,
So
so kind of
I
a
like
hybrid.
Huh? Yeah, a hybrid, I would say candid because I think they're more genuine. But if I can, like, if I only had to pick one candid, but if I could do both, then I would say the hybrid in the way that I
Okay. Okay. All right. That's fair. Okay. Smiling or serious?
smiling.
Yeah.
No one wants to like do it.
Right.
She doesn't look
Okay.
happy.
What's the last picture on your phone? I don't know if you've got it handy or not, or if you know. What would you guess the last picture
I
is?
think the last picture is my husband and I went to a concert at Red Rocks and we took pictures. Yeah, it was a video. It was a video of us at Red Rocks because that was my
Oh,
first Red Rocks concert.
oh, awesome. Welcome to Colorado Red Rocks. You got to go to your first Red Rock.
It was fun. Yeah, I had a good time.
Good, good. Okay, last thing up. What's your superpower?
I think I'm gonna say talking to people, like making people feel comfortable, which I feel like helps obviously with my job a lot because people are so like nervous to get in front of the camera. They're scared of like what they're gonna look like. So I think that I can do a pretty good job of getting people relaxed and pulling out that like personality behind the nerves and then making them, feel good. So I think that's
I know Madison, and I definitely agree. I think that that's probably right on. So, all right, it's time to wrap it up. Thank you for giving us these tips. I think that's helpful because a lot of times people just hire someone and then they just leave it up to the photographer and they feel like they don't have any control. And there's things that we can do that are ultimately going to make us happier with our pictures. And even knowing that up front might make us not so afraid to go out and update our headshots.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a team effort. You hire somebody for their expertise and their know-how, all of that, and they should be telling you all of these things that I'm telling you before you get your picture taken. But it's also helpful for you to know the things that you can do to set yourself up for getting the best picture that you can. And so that hopefully that helps.
Okay, awesome. Okay, and in the comments below when I post this, we will also have Madison's contact information if you want to get in touch with her. So thanks for joining us, Madison.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, bye.
Bye.